Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? Thank you for joining me tonight. This is just going to be a really quick call, like 5-10 minutes. I just wanted to put some time aside to offer sort of like a questions and answers session. I get lots of people asking me questions, emailing me, doing it on via my website. I get lots of people asking me to give them advice, to answer some questions, bit of fun. And so I thought what I would actually do is give everyone the opportunity to just jump on a questions and answer session with me. And you can ask those questions live, put them in the chat. I will answer them in real time for you. I have actually got a couple of questions that I got asked so frequently that I'm going to try and answer them this evening. So if you have got any questions that you would like about my course, about the business, or anything else in between, really, feel free to put them in the chat. And I'll do my very best to answer them. So hey, how are we doing? So I'm going to start with a question I get asked loads and loads and loads is, what qualifications do you have to be a geek? I mean, I'm I kind of call myself a geek. So there is actually Microsoft official exams you can take, and you can get them in all the Microsoft applications, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, etc. And if you want to be a super geek, you can actually get specific ones at an advanced level, and then you are classed as having an overall certificate. So a Microsoft Office specialist. So I do have Excel, PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, etc. separately, but then I have the overall one as well. So that's answered that question. And then I guess the part from that is that, how did that then lead to you having your own business and having your own online training academy? And for me, really, I was always the person at work that everyone went to for their Excel stuff predominantly. And I realised it was something I really enjoyed, that I was really good at, but I didn't have anything on my CV to say that I could do it. I was just known in work. And then I moved to another job, and it was obvious that I had a better skill set at that than most other people. So I decided to go and get my geek qualifications myself. So I actually did it in the evening at college, and built them up over sort of 6 months to a year period. I got all of it and got my super geek. So that was the journey for me. And obviously, so as well as having my qualifications, I was then having practical time with people's problems, their spreadsheets that are broken and things like that. So I was then able to offer both sides. So having practical skills as well as having the qualification. So that's kind of what led me down this path of doing consultancy, really. So I hope that answers some of your questions. One of the questions I often get asked actually about that is, do I need to go and get a Microsoft Geek qualification myself? And maybe your role or the thing that you love is actually just Word or just PowerPoint or just Outlook. And so the question is, do I need to get a qualification for that? And my answer is, really, it depends what you want to do with your qualification. So when you do my course, my online courses, you get a certificate at the end, and that's something that you can put on your CV, that you can put on your LinkedIn, so on and so forth. So that's a definite benefit. And that could be a benefit to you in your current role, if you're looking for a promotion, if you want to change jobs. I get lots and lots of contact from people who are virtual assistants who are wondering how they can get more jobs, really, secure more roles. That's a really, really cramped space at the moment. There's lots of people going into being virtual assistants, and so it can be quite hard to win those contracts. So the question then is, what's the point of having the Microsoft certificate? It costs you money. You can only take it. You can't do it online. You have to go to a special certified exam centre. So it is a bit of a faff. That may or may not be local to where you live. So is there a point in getting it? It really depends if you want that formal qualification or not. My course will teach you everything you need to know to be able to sit the final exam. I follow the syllabus. I've had all of those exams. I know how they work. And we've got multiple choice tests at the end and practical exams that you can take, and I will mark and stuff like that. So that will be enough as a confidence point of view for you to say, I know I've met that standard. I know I can do the job, and you're going to have a certificate from me. If you really want to go ahead and get your Microsoft certification, I can teach you how to do that. I can tell you how to do that. That's quite simple. So it really is dependent on the level that you want to go to and why you want to do it. Some people just do it because they want to know they're nosy. They want to know, do I meet the required level or not? And so with PowerPoint, there is only one level, and with Outlook, there is only one certificate. With Word and Excel, there's a basic and an advanced. So they both work slightly separately, obviously, in terms of time, the fees that you pay, etc. and so forth. So I hope that answers your question. I'm just going to have a quick scroll and see if I've got any live questions coming in. If not, I have got another one that I always get asked. So I was going to ask that. So, right. So the question that I get asked lots and lots and lots is for people who perhaps enjoy Microsoft, they're good at it, they use it as their day job, they're thinking, could they do something in the side, as a side hustle in the evenings, virtual assistant kind of thing? The question I get asked a lot is, what sort of work do I get the most of? What is it worth them practicing and them upskilling on and them concentrating on? What skills should they be working on? And it's a bit of a personal preference, really, isn't it? I certainly, in that Microsoft suite, I have my favourites. It won't come as a surprise to anyone that Excel is my favourite. That's my geek. That's my comfort zone. That's what I love doing the most. So obviously, I focus on that more. I talk about that more. That is a bit more of a skill set of mine. I naturally attract more Excel work than I do anything else. So everybody is different in that respect, aren't they? So you might have a different skill set and you might use different skills in your company, you know, so on and so forth. So what do I think that you can do is just be current, like Microsoft is always doing updates. So you need to stay on top of all of the updates, keep practicing it, you know, do work for free if you need to, offer to help out a local charity, do their presentations or their Word documents, just get practice. Even if you're not being paid, you can still get testimonials from people who say you've done a fab job, your turnaround was great, you know, your PowerPoint presentations were amazing. And so I would definitely urge you, if you're trying to look for paid work, definitely until you get paid work, keep practicing, offer to do stuff for free, friends, family, you know, so on and so forth. You can also document, you know, things that you're doing at work. Keep using that skill set. If there is a period in my life where I haven't used Excel, I can vouch for the fact, even though I class myself as a complete geek, it is still like learning another language. Use it or lose it. So if I was not to do Excel for 6 months and then someone gave me a broken spreadsheet and asked me to fix it, I would really have to work my brain back up on how to do that. You don't forget it all, but the really clever stuff, you do need to go back and remind yourself over. So there is that, you know, definitely practice, definitely do that. And I'm sure as well, if you're doing work for people and it's mates rates, or you're doing it for free and it's a local charity, they will know people who want to pay for somebody to do this work. So even though you're giving your time for free, you're supporting other people, it's keeping your sort of hand in what's happening and keeping your mind ticking over, and they will then recommend you to other people who are willing to pay for your services. So that is the biggest tip I can give somebody who would like to get into earning money. Or maybe you want to do it evenings and weekends. That's the benefit of virtual assistant work, is you can often fit it in around family life, work commitments, so on and so forth. And so that would be my recommendation. Hey, hello everyone jumping on. So that would definitely be my recommendation on that one. Have we got any questions? Because I said I'd be on for like 5-10 minutes. So I don't want to be on forever. I don't want to bore you. Literally, I could talk about Excel forever. One of the questions I get asked the most is, what is my favourite Excel formula? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I do go through phases where I have ones I use all the time that I think are really, really clever and that I love using. Sometimes it's just things like pivot tables are so simple. I love pivot tables. Conditional formatting is so clever. I love that. There's so many things. And then I guess the answer for me is nested formulas. It's not a specific formula. It's when you have a formula inside a formula inside a formula, and then you do something amazingly clever. And some of those formulas are really simple. Like the len formula, the length, I use that probably every formula I write ever has, like a more complicated one than VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP, has got the len formula in it. So I use that an awful lot. But yeah, I love challenging myself to get my geek on and do things I haven't done before. So like when a customer says, you know, when I'm in consultation with a customer, I'll say, what would you love but you don't think is possible in Excel? Like what would amazing look like to you? Like if you could just create God in the most perfect world, this spreadsheet would do this, this, this. And then I'm going to challenge myself to make that happen for you. And quite often I'm saying like, yeah, I'm going to the client, yeah. And I'm thinking, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. I know it's possible. And if I really stretch my brain, I'm sure I can make it happen. But I don't always know the answer. I'm still learning as well. And Microsoft are constantly updating things, so there's new things for me to learn. But yeah, so I love that challenge of challenging myself to be more clever and do things in a different way that I hadn't done before. And that invariably involves putting lots of formulas together to try and get an outcome. So not one specific favourite. Right, I am going to leave it there. What I am suggesting I'm going to do is do this session. It might not always be on the same day of the week, but I am going to do this every week. I'm going to jump on live and give people the opportunity to come and ask me their questions. I get so many questions over email, and so many of them, they're the same type of questions. I wanted to give the opportunity for people to jump on and ask me them face to face. And, you know, give me your exact situation and I will give you my specific answer. So if you think of anything between now and next week, then please do send it over in a message, or you can contact me through Smart Skills Academy. So if you go on there onto my website, they've got a contact button. On social media, there's all contact buttons. You can contact me through any of those, get hold of me, and I will think about the answer and I will ask the question next week. Have a great evening, guys. Thanks so much for jumping on. Bye.